Good morning, Doctor. My name is Rina Joyce Gomez. Today I'll be talking about my understanding of the teaching philosophy, how it prepares me to become a future teacher, and also my view of myself as a future teacher. So first of all, I think that the national education philosophy is actually a guideline which contains moral values and also principles which shapes our education system in Malaysia. So mainly it aims to produce individuals who are knowledgeable, responsible, and who is able to achieve high level of uh, personal well-being and also able to contribute to the betterment of their family, society, and also to the nation. So in other words, I think that the national education philosophy actually aims to produce an all-rounded individual. And for the learning, I personally believe that in order to achieve all this, that the teaching and learning process be not should be not confined in four walls of the classroom only. It should be something beyond that. For example, like nowadays students are more exam oriented. For example, during my generation, the teacher will come into the class and will just distribute essay questions and ask us to sample essays, and they will ask us to just memorize the essay without even telling us what are the good qualities that we should focus on. They will just come in and say that this is a good example of an essay and you should memorize it and it will be useful in your exam. So this is how the teacher prepare us to become like more exam oriented and focusing on the marks and also our scores. They will not focus on what we gain in that lesson or what we learn, but instead the main focus is the marks. So for me, I think that I will apply more of inductive teaching in my lesson. I will not spoon feed my students with information and also inputs, but I want them to give me all the inputs and all the information. For example, if I'm teaching subject verb agreement, I will not ask my students to go and memorize. Okay, if you see the pronoun he, she, it, then you need to add s behind the verb. And if you see the pronoun like I, you, we, they, you don't need to add s over there. So this is how the students memorize the grammatical rules. But I do not want my students to memorize it like that, but instead I want them to understand the rules. This is the first personal pronoun, so I should do this, and this is the second, and so on. I want them to understand instead of just memorizing it. And I really like the quote given by Benjamin Franklin, which goes, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." I want my students to not just remember what I taught them, but instead I want them to learn, to gain something from my class instead of memorizing whatever I taught. So that is the first thing which I think is important. And the next is, like I said previously, I think that teaching and learning process should not be confined between the four walls of the classroom. I want them to go beyond that, and hence I think I need to prepare like more activities for my students to make not only the which focus on learning English, but mainly focus on their other values which can be expand, for example, their self-confidence and also general knowledge, that kind of things, which I think is also important. For example, like even though I'm teaching English, but I think this kind of personal values should be inculcated in the classroom as well. For example, let's say I'm teaching literature. So we have like dramas and short stories. I think that this can be a good opportunity or platform for the students to go and uh, practice, or maybe go and show their talent and confidence to the others. For example, let's say I can ask them to go and do a theater on the drama which they learn. For example, like Form 2, they are doing Rumpelstiltskin. So they can actually go and act out the entire act in front of the entire school. So, for example, like we can get students, like for example, in a class there will be 30 to 40 students. So we can have some to be the actor, and one or two of them can be the director, some can be preparing the props, and then some can be the music director, some can be stage manager, and so on. So each of them will be given their role to make this theater a success. So as for the actors, they can build self-confidence by acting in front of hundreds of audience in the school. And for others, for example, like the prop manager and also uh, stage manager, they need to work in groups so that they can make this theater a success. So for them, they need to learn how to tolerate with each other, and I think that this is something which can be learned besides memorizing or just reading through the scripts and understand the characteristic. But when they are involved in the character, they can learn better. And so for me as a future teacher, I think in order to achieve what I said just now, the main thing is I need to prepare myself uh, in terms of knowledge. I need to be really uh, well prepared before every classes, because I know that if you go into a class unprepared, you cannot have the confidence to deliver whatever you are saying. Um, Even though it's you are a TESOL student, you can say that I can handle everything. You come and ask me any question, I can understand. I don't need to prepare. But I don't think that works. Because when you enter a classroom prepared, you will be confident and you can deliver whatever you want to teach without any problem. So, for example, if you're giving them worksheet, look for each and every um, meaning of the words, instead of when the students ask you the meaning, you just like, do you know that, and this is actually this, and this is actually that. So it's better for you to tell them confidently the meaning of this word is what, instead of going round and round and explaining to them this and that, but tell them confidently this is the meaning. So in order for that to happen, you need to prepare before each and every lesson. And also I need to think beyond the box for the students to be able to carry out interesting activities, because I don't want my classroom to be a boring one. I want them to enjoy my class, and so I want to make my teaching and learning very interesting, and not only focusing on the exam or the results, but focusing on what they can gain and make them a better person at the end of the day. And I will not focus on like all worksheets, quizzes, ask them to go back and read, memorize and everything, but I want them to like work in group work and discuss with their friends and come up with activities with answers and everything. So and lastly, I want my students to be motivated in learning English, not because that they will get any reward, but because they want to learn English. So that is my belief, and that is what I hope to be as a future teacher. Thank you.